Mr. Inglis of South Carolina. Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I rise tonight to ask my colleagues that may be supporters of the fair tax whether we've got some parallel idea that I've been talking about on this House floor for a while now. In the fair tax, what happens is you reduce taxes, income taxes, payroll taxes, those sorts of things, and you impose a tax on consumption. And the very good idea behind that is that you want to tax the things that you don't necessarily want to incentivize, and you want to free up from taxation those things that you do want to incentivize. So right now in our current tax code, savings and investments are treated shabbily in the tax code. Consumption is treated pretty well, because if you're a business, you can deduct those things. And so the idea is to turn that around. That's one of the good arguments for the fair tax. Now, of course, the downside of the fair tax is that it comes with a pretty substantial increase in the price of goods sold if they're new goods, because it's a substantial consumption tax, perhaps 23%. Of course, fair tax proponents immediately point out that that wouldn't be the actual total increase in the price of a good, because the income tax assumptions would come out of the pricing of that product. And so the dollar candy bar wouldn't be $1.23, it'd be something less than $1.23, because the candy bar company would not have to pay income taxes, nor would the sugar company and all the components. Good arguments. So I'm wondering if it's the same thing as what I've been talking about with a revenue-neutral carbon tax. The same kind of deal. That what we're doing here is we're switching what you tax, swapping out one tax for another. So in the concept that I've been describing here in a series of special orders, what we would do is we would reduce taxes on payroll, and that's something we want more of, labor, industry income, and we'd impose a tax, essentially a consumption tax, on carbon dioxide. The result would be that the things that would be incentivized would be payroll, again, labor, industry, work. The thing that would be disincentivized would be carbon emissions. Now, the interesting thing is that it's sort of the son of fair tax, a much smaller impact than fair tax is what I'm talking about here when it comes to the dollar shock. Because in the case of the fair tax, gasoline presumably would go up by 23% sales tax. Natural gas would have a 23% sales tax. Electricity would have a 23% sales tax on it. Now, of course, some of that would be knocked down by the income tax assumptions coming out of the provision of those products. But the result would be a switch in taxes in the fair tax, and it would be a big old switch from income taxes and those sorts of things, payroll taxes, to consumption tax. And what I'm talking about would be sort of a small version of that, where you take reduce payroll taxes and then you impose a tax on carbon dioxide. But the difference between the two is this. In what I'm talking about, there'd be an incentive to switch technologies too. In the fair tax, you're talking about just hitting every new good and product sold with a 23% sales tax. In the case that I'm talking about, you'd be just targeting one particular kind of product. The result would be that nuclear would be possible, that all kinds of new transportation fuels would be possible, and that we would be breaking this addiction to oil, cleaning up the air, and creating new jobs in this sort of son of fair tax, in this little small version of a fair tax that is the fair tax plus this very important technology shift. That's what I'm after, Mr. Speaker, is that technology shift that can give us an expansion of this economy and be part of the means of us growing out of this recession. We did it in the 90s with the productivity we got out of the internet and the PC. I think we can do it again now with energy. Energy security is our ticket out of this recession, and similar to the tech growth, the tech boom in the 1990s, this is our opportunity to grow the economy and to clean up the air, to create jobs, and, by the way, to help balance the federal budget. because that's what happened in the late 90s. The growth of the economy, because of the productivity from the internet and the PC, gave us new revenues. I think we can do the same thing in energy. But the start of it is to get the economics right. And if we do that, Mr. Speaker, I think we can help change the energy insecurity of the United States into energy security. It all starts with economics and with free enterprise making it happen. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.